My ex-wife banned me from my son's wedding, so I pulled the plug and destroyed everything. You think that after raising a child for 24 years, sacrificing your money, your energy, and every bit of peace you had left, you would at least be invited to their wedding. But people like Amanda, my ex-wife, are masterful at rewriting history. And Jason, my oldest son, swallowed every word she fed him. When Amanda left, Jason was 12. Ethan, my youngest, was barely 6. She ran off with Chris, a co-worker from her corporate job in Columbus. No long conversations. No fights. Just one note on the kitchen table and her stuff gone. I need to find my own happiness. That was her entire justification for abandoning our family. For years, I held it together. Worked double shifts as a construction manager. Made sure the boys had food, clothes, school supplies. I sat through every parent-teacher meeting. I helped Jason with his college applications. Paid off Ethan's braces. Before we go further, don't forget to like this story, hit subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss what happens next. Missed holidays so I could work overtime and cover everything they needed. Amanda? She barely called. An occasional card on birthdays. A text here and there. But no real parenting. No real sacrifice. Then, about 3 years ago, Amanda suddenly popped back into Jason's life. By then, he had graduated college and landed a job downtown. She showed up at his office just to catch up. And slowly, she started weaving herself back into his world. At first, I didn't mind. Maybe she finally wanted to be a mother. Maybe she felt guilty. Maybe Jason could finally have both parents involved. But soon, I saw the truth. This wasn't about rebuilding a relationship. It was about control. Jason started parroting Amanda's words. You work too much, Dad. Mom says you should have been home more. She says you made her feel alone. The revisionist history Amanda sold him was working. She made herself the victim. Made me the villain. And Jason bought it. When Jason met Rachel, his fiancée, Amanda fully inserted herself. Suddenly, she was the one helping them plan the wedding. Booking the venue. Negotiating the contracts. Making guest lists. All with my money. See, Jason had asked for help. The wedding was expensive, Hilton downtown Columbus. Rachel's parents weren't wealthy. Amanda offered nothing. So I agreed to cover the majority of the costs. The venue. The catering. The floral arrangements. Even the photographer. Almost $70,000. I didn't hesitate. Because I loved my son. Because I wanted to do right by him. Because I thought, maybe foolishly, that this would bring us closer. Then one afternoon, I got the official wedding invitation in the mail. I was excited to see it. To feel included. To feel like I was part of my son's big day. I opened the envelope. Stared at it. Read it again. And again. There was no seat reserved for me. No mention of father of the groom. Not even my name listed on the RSVP. Confused, I called Jason. Hey, buddy, I got the invitation. I think there's been a mistake. He hesitated. No, Dad. There's no mistake. What do you mean? Mom and I discussed it. It's better if you don't attend. Better? For who? It would just cause tension. Jason, I'm paying for the entire wedding. How could I not be invited? Mom says stop. Stop right there. Mom says? Jason, I raised you. Not her. Dad, this isn't about that. Oh, it's exactly about that. He tried to sound reasonable. Look, it's Rachel's big day too. She agrees with Mom that it would be uncomfortable. What did I ever do to Rachel? It's complicated. No, Jason. It's not. Your mother abandoned you, and I was there. Every single day. And now you're telling me I can't come to your wedding because she's uncomfortable? Dad, please don't make this harder than it needs to be. I hung up, hands shaking, heart pounding, vision blurry. I stared at that invitation for hours. Ran every sacrifice through my mind. Every night, I worked overtime while Amanda played house with Chris. Every tear Ethan cried when he asked why Mommy left. Every soccer game I sat through alone. And now, because Amanda whispered poison into Jason's ear, I was being erased. But what Amanda didn't realize, what Jason forgot, was that while they were busy rewriting history, I still held the pen that signed every payment, every vendor contract, every deposit, every damn check. That night, I pulled out the wedding binder, flipped through the contracts, one by one, and made a decision. If I wasn't family enough to attend, then I sure as hell wasn't family enough to fund it. There's a moment, right before you make a decision that will change everything, where your body goes completely calm. I felt it that morning. No rage, no fear, just clarity. I sat at my kitchen table with a hot cup of black coffee, wedding binder spread open in front of me. Every payment, every contract, every receipt. It was all right there. Neat. Organized. Tracked to the penny. Because that's what people like me do. We don't live on chaos like Amanda. We survive by knowing where every dollar goes. By noon, I made my first call. The Hilton downtown Columbus. The venue. The biggest check I had written. "This is Mr. Jameson," I said. "Reservation number 4427. "Yes, Mr. Jameson. How can we help you today?" "I need to cancel the reservation." "I'm so sorry to hear that, sir. Do you want to reschedule?" "No. Full cancellation." "Sir, there will be a forfeiture fee." "That's fine. Charge it to the card on file. Then close the contract." "Understood." The woman on the other end was polite, but I could hear it in her voice. This was going to cause waves. Good. Next, the florist. "Hi, this is Mr. Jameson. Cancel order 5698. "Oh, sir, that's for the Morris Rodriguez wedding, correct?" "Correct. But the delivery is scheduled in 2 weeks. Cancel it. Full cancellation. Charge whatever you need." Of course. Then came the catering. Then the photographer. The band. The transportation. The tux rentals. One by one, I dismantled the wedding I had built. Every contract had my name on it. Every check cleared from my bank. Every vendor knew who was really in charge. By 5 p.m., it was done. Tens of thousands of dollars vaporized in a single afternoon. And it felt good. No guilt. No second guessing. Just relief. That night, Jason called. I knew it was coming. I let it ring twice before answering. "Dad, what the hell did you do?" "I canceled my wedding." "It's not your wedding." "That's right. It's not. And I'm not invited. So why would I pay for something I can't even attend?" "You're punishing me." "No, Jason. I'm protecting myself. Do you have any idea how this makes us look?" "Us? You mean you and your mother?" Rachel's devastated. Rachel didn't have a problem cutting me out of my son's life. "Dad, you're ruining everything." "No, Jason. Your mother ruined everything years ago. You just let her do it again." He went silent, breathing heavy. I could hear Amanda in the background, whispering, feeding him more poison. "You always do this," Jason snapped. "Do what?" "Make everything about you." "Everything is about me, Jason. I was the one who raised you. I was the one who paid for your life while she disappeared. And now I'm supposed to stand in the shadows while she gets credit for everything? She's changed." "No, she hasn't. She just found a new way to control you." "I can't believe you." "You don't have to believe me. You'll regret this, Dad." I already regret raising a son who can't see manipulation when it's staring him in the face. He hung up. I stared at my phone for a long time. The last piece of me wanted to feel bad. To feel like maybe I went too far. Maybe I should have swallowed my pride for the sake of peace. But peace isn't built on lies. And I was done being the only one sacrificing. A few hours later, Ethan called. My younger son. The one who had always seen the truth. "Dad, Jason's losing his mind." I figured. "Amanda's posting on Facebook, blaming you for destroying the wedding." "Of course she is." "Do you regret it?" "Not for a second." "Good." Ethan paused. "For what it's worth, Dad, I would have never invited you if I didn't want you there." "I know, son." That one sentence made everything worth it. The next morning, my phone blew up. Family friends, cousins, even old neighbors. "Zach, what happened? Is it true you canceled everything? Don't let this tear your family apart." I ignored them all. Because they weren't there when Amanda walked out. They weren't there when I held Ethan while he cried himself to sleep. They weren't there when I worked 16-hour days to keep the lights on. They had no right to judge how I defended myself now. In the days that followed, Amanda spun her version of the story. Zach is unstable. He's bitter. He wants to control Jason's life. He's punishing us for moving on. Let them talk. Let them lie. I had nothing to prove to anyone. The wedding was officially called off a week later. The venue fully refunded the deposit minus the cancellation fees. Vendors rescheduled with other clients. The Hilton filled the date within 48 hours. Jason refused to speak to me. Rachel returned her ring. Amanda tried one last email. "You didn't just ruin Jason's wedding, you ruined your relationship with him forever." I didn't reply. Because she never understood something critical. Control only works if the other person still cares. And I didn't. The silence lasted longer than I expected. Weeks turned into months. Jason didn't call. Amanda didn't write. Rachel was gone entirely. I heard through the grapevine she moved back in with her parents out in Dayton. The wedding collapse hit them harder than they wanted to admit. And I'll be honest. I thought maybe that would be it. That I'd be the villain in their rewritten story forever. The bitter father who destroyed his son's wedding out of spite. Fine. Let them tell that story if it helped them sleep. I didn't lose a minute of rest. But life has a funny way of exposing truth over time. Because eventually, reality doesn't care about narratives. It just keeps knocking. 3 months later, Ethan called again. Dad, you're not going to believe this. Try me. Jason wants to talk. Now that everything's burned down, huh? He says he's sorry. He says he didn't see how bad Amanda got in his head. Took him long enough. You gonna meet him? I don't know. That was the truth. Part of me wanted to. Part of me didn't trust it. A week later, Jason called directly. The first call since that fight on the phone months earlier. I stared at his name on the screen. Let it ring twice. Then answered. Dad, I messed up. You think? I don't even know where to start. Try the beginning. Mom, she twisted everything. I didn't see it at first. She made it sound like you abandoned her. Like you worked too much. Like she was the victim. And you believed her. I did. Even after she walked out on you. On Ethan. I know. And even after I covered your entire wedding. I know. He paused, his voice cracking. Rachel left. She couldn't handle the drama after the wedding got called off. She left because she saw what you couldn't. You were letting your mother control your life. She told me that too. Said I was too blind to see how toxic Mom really was. And she was right. Another long pause. I don't expect you to forgive me. Good. Because I'm not ready to. But I want to fix things. Why now? Because I see it now, Dad. You raised us. You carried everything. And all I did was spit on that because Mom made it easy to blame you. I let the silence hang. Sometimes silence does more than words ever can. Can we meet? Just talk? One coffee, Jason. That's all I'm asking. We met the next day. Neutral place. Small cafe off High Street. Public enough that neither of us could explode if things went sideways. He looked older. Tired. Almost like the weight Amanda used to place on me had shifted onto him now. I don't expect you to forget everything, Dad. Good. But I was wrong. Very. You didn't deserve any of it. Correct. You paid for everything. And I threw you away the second Mom whispered into my ear. You made your choices. I did. And you lived with the consequences. I still am. I sipped my coffee. So why now? Because I don't want to lose my only real parent left. I raised an eyebrow. And your mother? I don't even speak to her anymore. What happened? She tried to move in with me after the wedding fell apart. Claimed she had nowhere to go. But really, she just wanted a new place to nest and control. I told her no. She called me ungrateful. Said I was abandoning her like you abandoned her. Typical. I finally saw it, Dad. She never wanted to fix anything. She just wanted power. He looked down, his voice smaller now. I let her ruin my wedding. I let her ruin my relationship with you. I let her poison everything. No, Jason. You let her do it because it was easier than facing how much she had already damaged you. He didn't argue. Didn't deny. That was progress. I want to rebuild. You can't rebuild what never existed, Jason. Then let's build something new. I studied him carefully. I wanted to believe him. I wanted my son back. But trust, once shattered, doesn't rebuild overnight. You start by earning your brother's trust back. Ethan never turned on you like I did. No. He saw through her lies from the beginning. I don't blame him for hating me. He doesn't hate you. He pities you. Jason nodded. I deserve that. Maybe you do. But you still have a choice now. He looked me dead in the eye. Then I choose you, Dad. That hit harder than I expected. Because I realized something right there in that moment. Amanda spent years manipulating my son. But the person Jason truly needed wasn't her. And it wasn't too late for him to see that. We talked for hours that day. Not about the past. About the future. About boundaries. About accountability. About never letting Amanda or anyone like her hold power over us again. I left that cafe lighter than I had in years. That night, Ethan called. So? How'd it go? Better than expected. You trust him? Not yet. But I'm open. That's more than he deserves. Maybe. But sometimes, people learn. Even if it takes them losing everything first. And Jason? He kept showing up. Slowly. Consistently. He called. He visited. He apologized, not with words, but with actions. For the first time in years, I felt like I might finally have my son back. Not the son Amanda twisted. The son I raised. I should have known Amanda wouldn't go down quietly. Women like her never do. Control isn't just something they enjoy. It's how they breathe. And when you take it away, they suffocate and thrash. Jason distancing himself from her was the first hit. His canceled wedding was the second. Her losing any claim to my money was the final straw. Now, all she had left was her desperation. And desperation makes people dangerous. It started small. A few emails from unknown addresses. You've always been cruel. I should have fought for custody when I had the chance. You poisoned my sons against me. I deleted them without even opening most of them fully. Old tactics. Same script. I wasn't playing anymore. Then she tried Jason again. This time through guilt. You owe me, Jason. For what? For giving you life. You abandoned us. I was unhappy. Your father worked too much. He worked to feed us while you played house with Chris. Don't turn on me now. I'm your mother. And you used me like a pawn. Your father manipulated you. No, Mom. He protected me from you. That was the moment I knew. Jason was finally free. Fully free. But Amanda wasn't done yet. 2 months later, a certified letter arrived at my door. I recognized the lawyer's firm immediately. Same one who handled her divorce paperwork years ago. Inside was a formal notice of intent to seek retroactive financial reconciliation. In short, she was suing me for unpaid spousal support. From 20 years ago, I laughed out loud. Laughed harder than I had in a long time. I called my lawyer, Laura. She reviewed the paperwork and rolled her eyes. She's grasping at straws. Can she pull this off? Not legally. The statute of limitations expired years ago. Then why file it? To rattle you. To make noise. She's wasting her own money on legal fees. Desperate people always do, Zach. And yet, Amanda being Amanda, she escalated even more. Public posts. Accusations. He financially abused me. He isolated me from my children. He's hiding money he owes me. Her friends, the few still loyal, parroted her words online. I watched them try to paint me as some monstrous ex-husband who crushed his poor, helpless wife. It was pathetic, but I let them rant. Because people who scream that loud usually have nothing solid to stand on. Then she made her last, and most dangerous, move. She tried to go after Ethan. She found him at a coffee shop one morning. Cornered him while he was waiting for his order. Ethan, please. Don't let him turn you against me too. You did that yourself. I was young. I made mistakes. You abandoned us. I thought your father would handle things. He promised me he would. You left. Period. I want my family back. There was no family once you chose Chris over us. Chris manipulated me. Stop. Just stop. Ethan, you don't get to rewrite history. Not with me. Not anymore. He walked away. Blocked her number. Texted me the entire conversation. She's losing it, Dad. She's lost it years ago, son. What if she shows up again? She won't. She's out of moves. And she was. Because the court threw out her financial claim. Public interest in her online tantrums faded. Her friends stopped sharing her posts. Even Uncle Gary, who once quietly enabled her, cut contact. Amanda ended up right where she started. Alone. The family she tried to control had slipped through her fingers entirely. Her manipulation only worked as long as we were willing to bend. But we stopped bending. We stood up. And she couldn't handle that. One afternoon, Jason and Ethan both came over for dinner. Simple night. No drama. Just steaks on the grill and a quiet house full of real peace. At one point, Jason looked at me across the table. I never thought we'd get here. Me either. I almost lost everything listening to her. You didn't lose everything, son. You still have us. And yourself. Ethan raised his glass. To finally seeing through the lies. We clinked our glasses. Simple. Honest. Free. That night, as I sat on my porch watching the stars, I finally felt it fully settle. Closure. Not because Amanda apologized. She never would. Not because she suffered. That wasn't my concern. But because I no longer carried her weight. I set it down. Walked away. And never looked back. Peace is not something that arrives with a grand announcement. It sneaks in. Quiet. Subtle. Unapologetic. You almost don't notice it at first. After years of chaos, your body doesn't know how to exist without tension. Without waiting for the next call. The next accusation. The next betrayal. But eventually, you adapt. You breathe. And that breathing feels like freedom. The months after Amanda's final attempt felt surreal. No more lawyers. No more social media storms. No more surprise visits or manipulative voicemails. Just quiet. I found myself doing things I hadn't done in years. Simple things. I started reading again. Books I had put off for decades while I was too busy working, fighting, or bleeding for people who took my effort for granted. I went fishing with Ethan on weekends. We sat in silence for hours, the only sound being the soft ripple of water and the occasional tug on the line. No heavy conversations. Just presence. Jason kept coming around too. We didn't rush our healing. We took it one conversation at a time. Sometimes, we barely even mentioned Amanda. Not because we ignored what happened, but because we didn't let her occupy space in our lives anymore. One evening, Jason showed up unannounced, holding a small box. What's that? Something I should have given you a long time ago. He handed me the box. Inside was his wedding ring, the one from the ceremony that never happened. I kept it after Rachel left. I couldn't bring myself to throw it away. And now? Now I'm done holding on to things that remind me of how far I let myself fall under Mom's influence. That chapter's over. Finally. We sat on the porch for hours that night. No alcohol, no noise, just the soft hum of insects and the occasional breeze cutting through the warm summer air. At one point, Jason asked me something that hit harder than I expected. Do you ever wonder if she regrets it? Amanda? Yeah. No. Why not? Because people like her don't regret losing you. They regret losing control over you. He nodded slowly. That's what scares me the most, how easily she convinced me. That's the power of guilt, son. When you love someone, you want to believe the best in them, even when they're feeding you poison. I hate how long it took me to see it. You saw it. That's what matters. Ethan joined us later, bringing ice cream from our favorite local shop. Simple. Easy. No drama. We were finally building something real. Not forced. Not obligated. Not driven by guilt. But by choice. That's the part Amanda never understood. Family isn't about blood. It's about who chooses to stay, without expecting payment for their presence. She spent years trying to make herself the victim, thinking that would force us to orbit around her gravity. But once we stopped spinning, she lost her entire solar system. I heard through the grapevine that she moved states away. Small apartment. Low-paying job. No new husband. No friends willing to enable her anymore. Even Uncle Gary washed his hands of her completely. The last remaining lifeline she had was gone. And she did it to herself. Every lie. Every manipulation. Every time she weaponized Jason's love against him. It all caught up. Ethan said it best one afternoon while we were grilling. She didn't lose us. She threw us away. Over and over again. I nodded. And we finally stopped letting her pick us back up. The healing wasn't always easy. Some nights, I still woke up tense, expecting a message. A knock at the door. Another accusation. But each time I opened my eyes and found nothing but silence, I smiled. Because I chose this. I fought for this. I earned this. Jason started dating again. Healthier this time. No hidden agendas. Ethan got a promotion at work. I remodeled the kitchen finally, something I'd put off for years. Not because I couldn't afford it before, but because back then, every extra dollar went to keeping Amanda's messes afloat. Now, the house felt different. Lighter. Not haunted by broken promises, but filled with real laughter. One weekend, we had a small barbecue. Just the three of us. Jason's new girlfriend came too. Her name was Sarah. Kind. Grounded. Nothing like Rachel or Amanda. She pulled me aside at one point. I just want to say, thank you. For what? For raising Jason into the man he is now. He did most of the work. Maybe. But he says you never gave up on him. Even when he didn't deserve your patience. That's what fathers are supposed to do. Not all of them do. Her words hit deep. Because she was right. Not all fathers do. Not all mothers either. The choices we make daily, hourly, shape who we become. Amanda made her choices. And now, I've finally made mine. To stop carrying her weight. To stop bleeding for people who never once offered a bandage. To live. Fully. Unapologetically. Free. People love to say family is forever. That no matter what happens, blood ties can't be broken. But that's a lie. Family isn't about who shares your DNA. Family is about who shows up, when nothing is owed, and when no one's looking. 5 years had passed since Amanda's last desperate stunt. 5 years of peace. 5 years of steady rebuilding. 5 years of real, earned family. Jason was thriving. He married Sarah last fall in a small ceremony. No big show. No drama. Just close friends and people who had actually earned a place in his life. I stood beside him as his best man. The moment he asked me, I couldn't speak for a solid minute. All I could do was hug him. Because that was the moment I knew. He wasn't lost anymore. Ethan moved states for work. Got engaged. We still talked every weekend. Sometimes it was long phone calls. Sometimes just a quick, love you, Dad text. But that consistency, that simple, reliable connection, meant more than anything. We started doing yearly fishing trips. Just the three of us. No wives. No friends. No distractions. Just us. A tradition built on survival, trust, and second chances. Amanda faded from our lives entirely. Every now and then, I'd hear whispers about her from distant acquaintances. She moved twice. Lost another job. Burned more bridges. At some point, even her Facebook disappeared. No more stage photos. No more guilt trips disguised as public posts. She became a ghost. Not because we erased her. Because she did. She wrote herself out of our story one selfish decision at a time. And honestly, I don't hate her for it anymore. Hating her kept me chained to the past. I let that go. One afternoon, while sitting on the porch with Jason, he asked me something I hadn't expected. Do you ever miss her? I paused. No. Not even a little? No, son. You can't miss someone who never really showed up. I guess I still struggle with that part sometimes. That's normal. She's your mother. But missing who you wanted her to be doesn't mean missing who she actually was. He nodded, quietly absorbing it. I wasted so many years believing her lies. You didn't waste them. You survived them. And you learned from them. That's what matters. Jason smiled. I'm lucky I still have you. We're both lucky, son. We both made choices that led us back here. We sat in silence for a while after that. Comfortable silence. The kind you only get when all the unfinished business has finally been finished. Later that evening, Ethan called. Hey, Dad. I've been thinking. Oh, dangerous words. You ever consider writing all this down? Writing what? Everything. Your story. What you've been through. How you rebuilt everything. Who'd want to read that? More people than you think. People stuck in situations like you were. People who feel like family ties are chains they can't break. You think so? I know so. I thought about that long after we hung up. Because maybe Ethan was right. Maybe my story wasn't unique. Maybe it was too common. Maybe too many people live trapped by guilt, thinking they owe loyalty to people who weaponize it. Amanda used guilt like currency. She traded an obligation. But what she never understood, what people like her never understand, is that eventually the debt gets called. And when you stop paying, you finally get to live. Freedom isn't something that happens in a grand act. It's the sum of 1,000 small choices. Choosing peace over drama. Choosing honesty over control. Choosing to let go instead of bleeding dry for people who never once offered you a bandage. I didn't lose my family. I found out who my family really was. Jason, Ethan, Sarah, the granddaughter I now spoil every weekend. That's my family. Not because blood says so. Because actions do. Because love built on sacrifice alone was never real love. It was debt. And I stopped paying. I still keep one box from the old life. Inside are court documents. Emails. Printed social media posts. The wedding invitation that didn't have my name on it. Not because I need reminders, but because sometimes, on the hardest days, it's good to look back and remember just how far we climbed out of that pit. Every time I open that box, I don't feel bitterness. I feel pride. Pride that I survived. Pride that my sons escaped it with me. Pride that we now live a life Amanda could never control. At the end of the day, every one of us faces the same question. Will we keep feeding the poison? Or will we starve it and finally breathe? I chose to starve it. And I finally breathed. For good. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear it too.